Hello, everybody. Here's passion fruit. It's 250. The sign might be backwards because of the thing, but this is what I'm talking about. This is a passion fruit. It's like hard as a rock, and it's like green, definitely picked unripe. Probably not a good variety. 250. So somebody might eat this and say, "Well, I don't like passion fruit because this is all they're tasting." When you get fruit like that, of course you're not going to like things. And the same thing. The mangoes here, they're just not picked fresh. So, they even have jackfruit here, and definitely not picked ripe. It's completely unripe. How can you enjoy a ripe jackfruit? When they're not picked ripe, they're not going to ripen up good either. That's why a lot of people don't like these type of fruits. Anyway, everybody, that's my rant. Remember, not all fruits the same. Try to grow your food or get some fruit from somebody who's growing it, not these stores that just pick it unripe. Hello, everybody. I wanted to talk more about what fruits you can buy in stores and what fruits aren't ideal to buy in stores. But I also wanted to discuss and reply to some of the comments that said people say, well, you're growing all your food. We don't have a choice. We can't eat fruit right off the tree because we live in the Midwest or in a colder environment and so on. And I understand your thinking because when I grew up in New York City, I didn't think I would have access to fresh mangoes right off the tree and all this stuff either. But now it's a little bit different. So I want to give you some solutions today. Okay. So there are some fruits that you could buy in the stores that are better than others, as I've been saying. But what do you do if you want to go on a raw food diet or if you just want to get the highest quality produce as possible, but you're limited in the space you have or the environment you're in and you can't grow? Well, thankfully, in today's times and with the technology and the internet and everything else, there are farms that actually grow food and pick and ship it the same day right to your door. And I'm not talking about your commercial co-op. I'm talking about private farms that they literally wait till they get your order and then they'll pick the food. One of my favorite places to get all different types of exotic fruits that are in season is laurafarmsmiami.com. I'm going to put the link below the video. At the time of this video right now, Star Apple and Mamey is in season, so you can order that and get it right to you. So you don't have to go to your local store. I don't recommend getting Star Apple and Mamey in your local store, even the health food store, but I do recommend getting it from the farm directly, and it's just as good as if you picked it right off your own tree. And all throughout the season, mango season's about to be starting. You can go to Tropical Acres Farms. They sell mangoes in the mail, and you can go to Laura Farms Miami, and there's other places that sell mangoes right off the tree as well. So there are places where you can get food right off the tree and not have to worry about that situation. The other thing is wild edible foods. See, this is something I haven't discussed much yet, but when I was in New York City, I didn't have access to grow as many things as I wanted to grow. But I still wanted to get things as fresh as possible into my body. So I would learn about wild edible greens. And now today I have perennial greens like katuk, and I also have moringa and so on. But 90% of the foods that we walk over, the weeds we walk over, are edible. So a common typical one that's known is dandelion. So a lot of people know about dandelion. They know what dandelion is a common so-called weed, but it's very edible and delicious. So you can learn about the different greens that are out there and get to a point where when I was in New York, I could take a bowl and go out just about anywhere and come back with a salad. So for those of you that can't grow your food, even in a colder environment, you still have wild edible greens. So learn about the wild edible greens. Now, you got to be careful because you don't want to get one that's incorrect, because the few that are not edible can be deadly. But they have great cameras out now and on the phones, and they have great apps now that can identify which greens are what. You could also go through, like I did in the old days, to get a book and try to identify plants. Once you identify it and you're eating it, it's wonderful. So there used to be something in New York called lamb's quarters. So I used to be able to identify that. I was able to eat that. And it's the highest quality food. You can't grow food better than that. You can't buy food better than that. The wild edible greens are excellent. So I definitely recommend learning about that. Either way, even if you have access to growing your own food, that's a good thing to do. And so, yeah, you can order fruit online. You can find wild vegetables. Now, if you are in the store, there are things that are common, like lemons are pretty much all over the place. They ripen okay. Yeah, I can't even grow lemons here in Florida, so lemons are something I commonly buy from the store. Avocados. Now, avocados come from California, Mexico, and Florida. This is a Dominican Republic avocado, actually, in Dominican Republic. This is probably one of my favorite tasting avocados that's out now. And so avocados do not ripen on a tree. So avocados are a fruit that is safe. They're a fruit because they have a seed, but they're often eaten like a vegetable. But they're something that's safe to get in the store. This is one of the safe fruits to get in the store. So it's not like, well, what do we do now? And then there's the common typical banana. I like to eat my bananas ripe like that. And not only can you get bananas in the store, but most bananas in the store they're picked so green by the time that they get to the store, they're still green. So I like them to ripen. But bananas are a food that's known to ripen well off the tree. So some fruits are, and you just got to know the difference. In the near future, I'm going to go to a couple of local stores, and I'm going to show you a couple of the things that ripen well and things that don't ripen well that you never want to eat that are fruits that the store sells. But, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. So hopefully this video will help you understand that just because you're in a colder environment, just because you don't have room to grow your food, doesn't mean you can't eat a raw vegan diet and thrive, because you absolutely can still get high quality fresh food right from the tree, even if you're not growing it or if it's from your tree. So these are things to consider. And then there's farmers markets and so on. You can go there and so on. Now, I do believe in eating locally and eating seasonally is very helpful, and that would put people at a disadvantage is if you're eating if you're living in Minnesota, you know, if watermelon's not really something that will grow in your region most of the year or if any of the year. So you want to be thoughtful when you're eating those things. But on the other hand, you're not outside in the cold. You're in a hot apartment or house. So you've created in a tropical environment. You know, so do the best you can do, but don't be discouraged because, you know, I grow sprouts. You can grow sprouts anywhere. You can, even in a colder environment inside your house, you could find the wild edible greens. And some foods grow great all year round in certain these places. But you do better if you're living in colder environments, maybe with some root vegetables or just things that grow naturally there. And the tropical environment is definitely more conducive or better to eat this type of diet and live this type of lifestyle if you can get to a tropical environment. But if you can't, that's not a reason not to attempt to do this. The key to health really has to come down to, I'm looking at this, I was walking the other day and I found a moringa tree in their season here. And I'm going to have the powder on my website. I should have, next week, I should have moringa capsules, which are excellent. But the key to health is really, you know, keeping the blood clean. And you don't have to pay money to do that. When we sleep at nighttime, the body naturally purifies and cleanses the blood. That's what it does. That's what, you know, healing takes place during sleep and rest. The problem is many people today cut their sleep short. And they're stopping their healing and their cleansing. Now, why do people cut their sleep short? Because there's simply not enough time to eat the typical diet that people are eating today and get the proper amount of sleep we need to cleanse and heal from that type of diet. The more you eat and the harder it is to digest food, and when you eat foods that have a lot of waste left over, it requires more work by the body to clean the blood and cleanse. So that requires more sleeping time so the body can do that. And realistically, we don't have time to be sleeping this many hours throughout the day. We got to get up for our jobs, we got to live our lives, and so on. But we were not supposed to be sleeping this many hours to begin with. I mean, in the old days, they say 8 hours a night, and 8 hours a night is fine. But you got people sleeping, or at least requiring 9, 10, 11, 12 hours to cleanse and heal. And if that's what you require, get it. Don't cut your sleep short. And people will say, well, what am I supposed to do? Stay in bed all day and not work or not get up and go to school or anything? No. Find a diet that's going to give your body what it needs while using very little energy to process the waste that's left over, or to have to cleanse from the toxins you put in your body. And that's where we get to fruits and vegetables. That's why the raw vegan diet is so great. It gives your body the most nutrients with using the least amount of energy to get rid of the waste. So let me give you this example. A meat, for example, or a carcass, an animal. It has nutrition. Everything has nutrition. You know, they call meat a complete protein because it has all the essential amino acids that we need in one source. But it's of the lowest kind of protein because there's so much waste left over that the body has to get rid of that after you've eaten it. And all that extra work creates a problem. You want to give your bodies the things that have the most nutrients with the least amount of work to get them and the least amount of waste left over. The average person today is eating a diet that has the least amount of nutrients and takes a tremendous amount of work to get rid of all the waste that's as a result of what's left there. And that's not something you want. So this is why you need to make sure a good part of your diet is raw fruits and vegetables, and ripe, fresh, and organic is just going to help the situation. So I don't want to get anybody to get confused or misunderstand what I'm saying. You can absolutely do a raw vegan diet in a colder environment. You can do a raw vegan diet in a place where you don't have land, and you can thrive. If you can't grow it yourself, there are people that grow it, and so keep that in mind. And you know, and seek answers for the things that you don't know. Learn about the wild edible greens. But I'll take you to a store and I'll show you some foods that are typically you could buy that ripen better than other fruits that ripen, and some things I suggest. But for now, just you know, keep learning, keep growing, and just be open to new ideas and discovering new things. Another one is not eating late at night and not eating right before going to sleep. I don't care how great the food is you're getting. It could be right off your tree or right out of your garden, but if you're eating it late at night and eating right before going to sleep, that's not the ideal way to do it. You're interfering with the body's process of healing and cleansing. So you know, be wise about this, everybody, and I'm here to help you, okay? Have a great day, everybody. Put your comments and questions below. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Until then, everybody, have a great raw life, and we'll be back with another video shortly.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.